I lost it all in under 15 minutes. The judge barely glanced my way before putting her signature on that initial paper. My home vanished. My bank accounts vanished. My future savings for old age vanished. I remained seated in quiet shock as my wife, Sarah, kept her gaze fixed forward, steady and unruffled. No fury in her expression. No visible distress. She simply appeared done, as though I had already been removed from existence. Her attorney stood tall next to her, turning documents with smooth confidence. My own lawyer bent close and murmured, "Daniel," he said under his breath, "we have no moves left. Nothing at all." 12 years together boiled down to forms and ink. Sarah never once turned her eyes toward me. Not during the moment the house deed switched to her name. Not as the list of my finances appeared. Not even as the arrangements for our child were sealed. As if I were no longer human. Merely a barrier that had finally been removed. My palms lay flat and still on the wooden surface. I couldn't risk letting them tremble. I stole a quick look at Sarah. She seemed peaceful, assured, triumphant. Then our daughter, Emma, moved restlessly beside her. She had stayed completely silent through the whole proceeding. Until that moment. She rose abruptly. Her young voice sliced across the hushed room. "Your Honor," she began, fingers quivering just a little. "May I present something to you?" The judge's brow creased. Sarah whipped her head around. For the first time all morning, my wife showed genuine alarm. Sarah's arm darted forward and seized Emma's wrist. "Sit back down," she hissed, too harshly. Emma went rigid. The judge observed it. "Mrs. Thompson," the judge stated evenly, "allow the child to continue." Sarah paused. That brief instant revealed everything. Her concern wasn't about humiliation. It was about being uncovered. Gradually, Sarah let go. Emma remained standing there, tiny and vulnerable amid a space designed for grown-ups who dismantled one another with courtesy. She turned her gaze to me first. Not to her mother. To me. Her eyes glistened yet held firm. "I discovered something," she murmured. Sarah shot to her feet. "Your Honor, she's only a minor. She can't grasp the implications." "Return to your seat," the judge ordered sternly. Sarah complied, yet her poise had evaporated. Her fingertips gripped the table rim fiercely. Emma fumbled inside her small bag with unsteady fingers and withdrew a plain dark smartphone. Not her own. Sarah's. "I didn't mean to pry," Emma explained gently. "Mom forgot it on the counter last week." My heart clenched. Sarah's complexion drained of color. "She was out in the garage," Emma went on, her tone fracturing a bit. "She believed I had gone upstairs." Sarah rose once more. "This is improper. It bears no relevance here." "That's sufficient," the judge declared. The entire space fell hushed. All attention fixed on Emma. She cradled the device with care, as though its weight exceeded its size. Then she uttered the phrase that stole Sarah's breath. She was discussing Dad's finances with someone. The atmosphere in the room shifted at once. Not noisily, but utterly. Sarah remained immobile. Didn't even blink. Her whole frame had locked in place. "What exactly do you mean?" the judge inquired kindly. Emma lowered her eyes to the phone she held. "She was in the garage," Emma repeated softly. She told them, "Once everything receives approval from the court, he won't have access to any of it. He'll be left with zero." My insides sank. Sarah's attorney leaped up swiftly. "Your Honor, this amounts to hearsay. Merely a youngster's misunderstanding." Emma shook her head. "I captured the audio," she stated. Utter stillness. Absolute quiet. Sarah pivoted toward Emma gradually. Not furious. Petrified. The judge inclined forward. "You made a recording?" Emma nodded and lifted the phone. Sarah's counsel intervened at once. "Your Honor, we protest the admission of any covert audio." The judge lifted her palm. "I shall determine its admissibility." Sarah's respiration had altered. Quicker. Shallower. Her flawless self-control had vanished. The judge met Emma's gaze directly. "Would you play the recording?" Emma's fingers shook while she entered the passcode. Sarah stood abruptly. "Your Honor, this serves no purpose." "Be seated," the judge snapped. Sarah offered no resistance. She was unable to. She understood precisely what would follow. Emma tapped the display, and Sarah's voice echoed through the chamber. Cool. Deliberate. Entirely foreign. "The moment the court approves, full control passes to me." Sarah's captured words rang out plainly. Devoid of feeling. No doubt. Pure conviction. Faint footsteps paced in the distant background. "He places faith in the process," she added. He won't comprehend the reality until the end. My ribcage constricted. Every listener in that space absorbed it. Sarah's attorney stiffened at her side. The judge allowed it to play on. Never interrupted. Never flinched. The audio pressed forward. I relocated the funds some time back, Sarah remarked offhandedly, to places he has no knowledge of. Those sentences struck deeper than anything prior. Not rage. Not disloyalty. Forethought. Arrangement. Deliberate design. Sarah now stood rigid, eyes glued to the ground as if wishing to vanish beneath it. The clip concluded. A weighty hush descended. Irreversible. The judge gradually shifted her attention to Sarah. Mrs. Thompson, she inquired calmly, does that voice belong to you? Sarah parted her lips. Shut them. Parted them once more. No sound emerged. In all 12 years, she had lost dominion over events. Her attorney advanced promptly. Your Honor, the surrounding circumstances are critical. The judge halted him with a gesture. No, she stated decisively. Then she examined the documents before her. The identical stack that moments ago had stripped me bare. Her pen waited nearby, poised. And abruptly, for the first time that session, the matter remained open. The judge held her silence briefly. She replayed the audio for herself. Each phrase, each interval, each calculated aim. Sarah remained petrified next to her counsel, fists balled until the skin blanched. The assurance she had entered with had dissolved, supplanted by something primal. Dread. At last the judge raised her head. Mrs. Thompson, she observed evenly, you acknowledged transferring joint resources to hidden accounts before today's session. Sarah's attorney moved forward hastily. Your Honor, the meaning is being distorted. Respond to the inquiry, the judge commanded. Sarah gulped. When her reply emerged, it sounded friendlier than I had ever known. I was safeguarding my interests. Not a denial. A confession. Soft whispers rippled through the spectators. The judge remained impassive. She directed her focus to Sarah's representative. Were those holdings reported in the submitted financial statements? The lawyer faltered. That pause conveyed volumes. No, Your Honor, he conceded cautiously. The judge eased back a fraction, her face unaltered. Then she regarded Sarah anew. You recognize, she stated evenly, that concealing joint property constitutes a grave breach. Sarah's self-possession shattered entirely. This isn't just, she burst out. You would have claimed it all from me. The statement lingered. Not protective. Exposing. For her actions stemmed not from defense. They arose from absolute confidence. Confidence of victory. Yet now, for the first occasion, victory eluded her. Sarah's counsel bent close, murmuring something inaudible. It changed nothing. The harm was irreversible. The judge eased the folder shut with deliberation. Mrs. Thompson, she declared evenly, this tribunal depends upon complete openness regarding finances from each side. Sarah offered no reply. She was incapable. Her whole plan hinged on secrecy and dominance. Both had evaporated. The judge addressed the clerk. Order a comprehensive audit of every financial submission in this matter. Sarah's attorney rose at once. Your Honor, such a step would be disproportionate. No, the judge replied firmly. Disproportionate would be permitting deception of this bench. The chamber grew still. Sarah's breaths came rapid, erratic. Her gaze avoided the judge, avoided her counsel. It fixed instead on Emma, her very own child, the single individual she had failed to anticipate. Emma remained near her seat, tiny frame clutching the device. Not gloating, not victorious, merely truthful. Sarah's tone fractured faintly. Emma, you have no idea the consequences of this. Emma stayed silent. No response was required. For the first time since proceedings commenced, the resolution had slipped beyond Sarah's grasp, and every person present recognized it, including her. The judge announced a brief adjournment. Sarah lowered herself gradually, as though her limbs had lost reliability. Her attorney spoke quickly at her ear, his polished demeanor fractured. He no longer directed. He merely attempted containment. I remained in place. Triumph eluded me. Instead, clarity arrived. Sarah at last met my eyes. Truly met them. Not in wrath. Not in loathing. In dawning awareness. She comprehended. She understood the narrative she had constructed was crumbling. Emma crossed the divide quietly to reach me. No rush. No tears. She simply positioned herself at my side. I'm sorry, she breathed. I shook my head softly. You've done nothing incorrect. Her small fingers found mine. I hadn't known how desperately I required that contact. From across the way, Sarah observed. Isolated. For the first time throughout this ordeal, she held no edge. No plan. No assurance. The judge re-entered shortly after and took her place. All rose. All waited. She reopened the documents. But her scrutiny now centered not on me. On Sarah. Given this fresh testimony, she announced evenly, the court shall re-examine earlier rulings. Sarah's attorney tensed. Sarah remained motionless, remained breathless, for she grasped the implication. All she believed she had locked away now hung in doubt. The judge straightened her lenses and addressed Sarah directly. Mrs. Thompson, she stated evenly, this court determines that you deliberately withheld joint property and proceeded with improper intent. Sarah uttered nothing. She was unable. The certainty she had carried inside had given way to emptiness. Repercussions. From this moment forward, the judge proceeded, every earlier financial allocation stands paused until the audit concludes. Sarah's counsel leaned in, murmuring frantically. It altered nothing. The transformation had occurred. The judge flipped to the next sheet. Furthermore, this tribunal will reassess property allocation considering the demonstrated misconduct. Sarah's prospects had shrunk to ambiguity. The very ambiguity she had engineered for me. At last she regarded Emma. Not in fury. Not in accusation. In stunned incredulity. She had never envisioned that the one soul she counted on for discretion would expose everything. I rose gradually, fingers still entwined with Emma's. Sarah regarded me. Her look held no fury. It held understanding. Not merely of her losses, but of the ruin she had caused. Her defeat stemmed not from my actions. It stemmed from her conviction that defeat was impossible. I remained wordless. Words were unnecessary, because as Emma and I departed the chamber side by side, for the first time that day, I was no longer the one stripped of everything.